been gracing our screens since the 90s, on screen. But this is the first time that you're gifting us with your brilliance off screen. You wrote this, you directed it, you produced it. This is kind of a two-part question. First, I would just love to know, it's kind of an obvious one, but when was this idea birthed? How long has it been ruminating? And then also, I'd love to know how stepping behind the camera has sort of shifted or changed your creative process.
Yeah, so I saw some of this world growing up. So I'm a very big why person. Like, I need to understand things, and if they don't ever satiate, like an answer isn't kind of there and it like satiates that thirst to understand, then it continues. So around 16, I noticed the young women around me filled with like rage, deep rage, like rage that I didn't even understand at that age because everybody around me was like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed normal. When I got out in the world, it was like, oh, that's not normal. But it was the question of like, why are they so angry? Like, what is it? And that kind of stayed with me. And as I got out into my career and being female in the world, I just started to feel a sense of anger as well towards things that I didn't agree to as a woman. Like, why are the rules different from me? Why are the rules different because I'm from New York? Why are the rules different because you think I'm ethnic? Like, why, why? So that's where the thought started, and then it just continued, and it just kind of marinated for years and years and years. And I would start to talk about story to an agent or a producer, someone, they'd go, great, write it or whatever, like, just like whatever. Every actor has a story, in air quotes. And no one really ever pushed me to say, yeah, that's great. Until later, much later in my career, probably, like 10 years ago, when it was like, I really started to take 13 years ago, when I started to really sit down and go, I'm gonna start to do something here and write. But I'd say from the time I really sat down, and I'd say like 13 years from when I first sat down to here.
Wow.
So it's quite some time. From the time I had like a finished script in hand to now, probably 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
5 years. Yeah, it's been a journey.
Well, I mean, just hearing you speak about everything, it's like the film flashed before my eyes, because this film feels so deeply personal, and it's so rooted in truth, which I think is the mark of great storytelling. And you can see all of that. And I think one of the ways that's the choice, which is so effective, to sort of have to see this, especially the mother-daughter relationship between the character you play, Francine, and her daughters, Rose and Connie, from seeing them from this young age to, being young women. What a beautiful way to sort of examine that dynamic. And Jennifer, the amount of times that you use this, I have chills thinking of it, because I had a aha moment with my therapist recently of the danger and the harm of these two words, good girl.
Poof. We can talk on that for a very long time. And I get chills when you say that, because, and I'm not going to get emotional, but it's I teach as well. I've always taught, but it's a very special group that I'm teaching now, because it's called Scene Study, SEEN. It's for women over 40.
Wow.
And it seems like that generation, especially, we really were taught to be good girls.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar and spice, everything nice. And it definitely still exists, but it was really, and of course our mothers as well, to be this not human, cut off every other part of yourself, don't speak up, don't be too loud, don't be too cute, don't be too sexy, just be the right amount of this and the right amount of that. I came up in a business that we were all supposed to be Julia Roberts, God love her, but not all of us are Julia Roberts. Big laugh, big smile, don't offend anybody. Like, and it was like, it really screwed a lot of us up. And it's that good girl thing. It's like, who made the description?
Oof.
It wasn't a woman, I'll tell you that much. It definitely wasn't a woman. And then you think about why it was done, and you can go deep. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to unpack. But in saying that, that was part of the reason why, when I first went out with the script, and especially some men would say, "You're gonna make the young women be so violent? We're not gonna see it though, right? It's gonna be more like to imagination, because be too jarring." And it's like, no, we are gonna see it, because there is such a thing as female rage. And it's funny because I've had a few interviews, and very intelligent women, very self-analyzing women say, I watched certain scenes where the women are violent, and I thought, I felt very affected by it, and almost like upset by it. And then I had to ask myself why. And
There's that why again.
exactly. And I thought, exactly, because in these types of movies, these mafia movies, men are stabbing each other in the face. Everyone's laughing when Joe Pesci shoots a kid, because he just shoots him, and we're like, oh, that Joe Pesci's hilarious. It's like, but yet to see women behave in such a manner, it's like, oh, and we're so not used to it. And that's what I'm trying to push.
Yeah. Oh, I think you did it brilliantly. And I think that what's so necessary about the violence in this film is that we see kind of the birth of it. We see the relationship that these young women at a very early age have with violence. A lot of it has to do with the violence being put aside and secretive, and there's a shame put on it. And then when
Right.
it's released, and it's this beautiful arc to it.
That's right.
That's complex and complicated. And I thought it was really, and then, I mean, I love that scene. I think you're talking about that scene where Connie kind of goes ape shit on the
Perfect description. Exactly. But it's also like I said, when I used to watch these young women around me, and then like this question stayed forever with me. It was also from this release of who they had to be in this culture, who we all had to be in this neighborhood where it was very tough. And it was also, in that culture, you also, there's a cap again on you as a woman. You're not going to go into business with your father. It's never going to happen. It wouldn't even kind of happen. So you're like overlooked. You're supposed to have babies. And the question is, what if you don't want to? So the rage there is from so many different things.
Oh yeah, there's like a grief and a pain. I mean, you play that. There's that beautiful scene. I believe when they're playing cards. I think it's Christmas, and Rose says to Francine that she doesn't know she wants kids, and just the way you played that, it was reactive, but it was not. It was full of just that you were mourning in that moment from the pain that you ensued, that generational trauma that is just at that table, ready to just come to a.
And that's it. And that's another thing in that community. It's like, well, that's the road I had to walk down. And I'm going to say many communities. I had to walk down that road. You have to walk down that road. you know, women sometimes are the biggest problems in advancement of women, because it's like, well, I had to deal with that. Why are you better than me? Then you don't have to deal with that. You're supposed to get married and have kids and be miserable. Like, it's like, that's not everybody. I know that, but these were the rules that were set out, and it's like, why are you better than me, kind of thing. It's
Mhm.
that very, it's just it's a very potent piece of like, I love you, do better than me, but don't.
Mhm. Ugh, it's heartbreaking, and I think I'm so excited for everyone to see this film, but specifically mothers and daughters to have those conversations, to start reflecting and saying, to do some reframing of, instead of being so reactive and letting that kind of grief and that pain win, to sort of take a step back.
Yeah.
Um, and heal in a way. I think it's incredibly healing. I think this film is very healing.
Oh, I love that. It was funny. My husband said to me last night, he was like, it was incredibly healing for you. He's like, now I have the trauma of it because it was so difficult. It was so difficult that he was like, wonderful, you healed. Now I've been traumatized. I was like, well, write a movie about it.
Exactly. I love that. I think too, like what I was thinking about, we sort of throw this word around a lot, strong female characters. And um I was thinking about how also what this film does so beautifully is it shows how these women were not allowed to have strength and vulnerability, because they were very strong in the sense of, as like, Italian American women are. I mean, I'm a quarter Sicilian, so I know a little bit of the world. And there is this tough exterior, but there's that, I mean, there's this, one of my favorite lines, I'm going to quote your film to you, favorite lines that I've heard in a really long time is, you didn't talk because you had too much to say. Ah, I
That
mean,
that hits us. That hits a lot of us right in the gut.
so in the gut. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fear of having that strength and vulnerability, and Rose so innately feeling that and then not understanding how to express that.
100%. And knowing that even if she did, she'd be shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Her voice didn't matter. And it's so funny because there was so many little things, and there was a lot more in the script, metaphorically, but also some scenes that are gone. And you love your script so much and you want to see it all. But there was a point at the end of the first act that we kind of explain a little that Rose isn't talking, and I thought, no, I'm gonna take it out because no one cares that she's not talking. You hear it little bits of like, Rose, you got to talk to me, like in the car, like, it's like, but it's okay that she doesn't talk. She doesn't need to say much as a girl. And it's just painful, painful.
So painful. And you directed, I mean, you also directed these beautifully talented young actors. So
They're
wow.
wonderful. They're wonderful. I was very blessed. I searched for them, and I knew that these actors had to be extremely special. They needed to understand this in a very primal way. They needed to feel this deeply. They needed to embody the energy of these girls, which is not easy. Not easy at all, because they're in, I said to them both, like, you're in constant fear.
Yeah.
Constant. In the house, out of the house, you do not know what's happening. Any moment your dad is dead, your mom's dead, like you don't know what's happening at any point. So it was that constant fear that lived, kind of like looking over the shoulder, constant. And I think they really they do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Big
Yeah.
time. It
They're
was um it was thrilling watching this film. I mean, it's you had me on the edge of my seat, yet you had me feel so planted at the same time. I was anxious, but I was reflective,
yeah.
and it was all the best parts and the shameful and the dirty and the darker bits that should we need to shine a light on.
And
Uh,
that's the other thing. It was like, having been in front of the camera for a long time, and I can't say that every role I've played has been fully fleshed out, as many female characters are not. Um, so to be able to fully flesh out all of these flawed women and men, everyone, and that's what I love about films like this. I want to see humans, real humans that are good and bad and ugly and beautiful, and you hate them and you love them, and they're us.
mhm.
None of us are perfect, and these women are flawed. So that's what I wanted to see. They're broken, they're vulnerable, they're fierce, they're victims and not victims, that like they're all of it. And usually we see one kind of female from a certain point of view, and it's usually not a female point of view.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so refreshing. And I think too, we live our lives in the gray. It's a dichotomy of like our set. Like we're constantly just like we're up and we're down and we're pulled and we're twisted. And I think that, the characters, especially with Rose, we can feel that. It's this motion. It's almost this physical. I mean, she's so grounded and still, but we can see the push and the pull. Like I really think that she's on this like wave, and she's swimming and she's drowning, and we feel that
100%.
very visceral.
Yep, 100%. Because I think that's the other thing, on a bigger scale. I think so many people can relate to Rose, male and female, because it's that, whether it be you're born into poverty, you're born into alcoholism, drug, like whatever it is that you got to get out of.
Mhm.
But your family is like, what people around you tell you should be and what you'd like to be. We all have felt that at some point, all of us. And I always say about this film, at the end of the day, it's about finding a voice in a world that tells you not to have one. And I think especially today's society, we can really all understand that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that storytelling's magic. It plays such a crucial role in creating change, in fighting resistance, in
I agree.
us up, in informing us. And I think that's what this film does so well. Jennifer, I'm just so happy for you. Truly.
Thank you.
I hope you're
Thank you.
celebrating yourself. I know it's been a lot of hard work, but like I hope that you're just like taking a moment and you're taking it all in. Um,
I'm trying. There's still so much craziness, but yeah, it's awesome. And I'm honestly, I'm ready for it to be in an audience. I want to see it with an audience. Like now I'm ready for tomorrow to see it with an audience.
they're just gonna fall in love, and I can't. Yeah, there's gonna be so much chatter. People are just gonna be dying to, like I said, it's gonna crack people open. It's giving a space to have conversation, and to self-reflect. And yeah, I'm excited to like I watched it by myself, and I'm really excited to share it.
Yep, I get it. Like, because you want to have someone to talk to about it, right? You need to like talk about it, and it's because it hits. I know it does. That's why I can't wait to see where it hits for people, so many people. And like, like I said, I've had a few male friends watch it, and two of them called me hysterical.
Wow.
Like it really hit them, really, really hit them.
Well, I think what it's going to do really, for especially for like men is to like, I'm excited for my husband to see it, of like, see how the language also, or the way that men sometimes in our society, they don't mean to be patronizing, or they don't mean to cause harm by using phrases like good girl or I'll protect you or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the intention being out of love, but we realize that it does more harm than good. And I think that for, yeah, for men, women, whoever, just like you said it earlier, on a human level, we can learn a lot from this film, and how our intentions, whether the intention is pure, we have to still know that our words have weight, our actions have weight. And
100%.
the small one, that's what's so brilliant too. I'm just going to brag one more time about your beautiful script, but you show that in small examples and large. Like, obviously this is a crime family, and there's, even if this were, what's so brilliant about it is this is relatable on, like you said, a human level, any family dynamics in general, mother-daughter relationships, father-daughter relationships, the ways in which we F each other up.
100%. Well, that's what I mean. The one gentleman that called me because he was thinking about his own relationship with his dad, and how broken that was, and how he grew up healing from that and not healing from that. And then the other one was really looking at himself through Rose's eyes, because he grew up around a very tough area. He was not tough, and he had to become that way to survive. So, and then the other one with the father was looking at it also from the father's point of view to the daughters. So like you can find yourself, but that's the beauty of art, right? We take what we take from it. And that's what's beautiful about simplicity of story, and that's what I'm really excited to see, because it's, I always used to say, as I was going out with this movie and trying to raise money, and I would say to my producer, I would say, I'm putting the broccoli in the cake, right? Because I have things I want to say here, and I know if I just said them, it's going to hit people over the head, and we don't want to do that. So the cake is the mafia world that people love this world. And somehow we've never really seen the women like this, or the young, especially the young women. We've never seen them. So that makes me happy. And that's, everyone loves the genre, but I'm, like you said, there's a lot to chew on. So again, putting the broccoli inside the cake, wrap it up in a nice mafia drama, and I get what I want, and they get what they want.
It's brilliant. What a good analogy. Putting the broccoli in the cake. Ooh,
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Oh, well, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the festival, and just congratulations again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.